Through my practice, I've always been trying to get higher or attain another level of artistic ability, concepts, the way things occur in my life. I'm always trying to go higher than where I was before. So that's going up. That's going like climbing a mountain. I don't think I'm finished. I think I'm always in the process of ascending. My name is Floyd Tunson, born and raised in Denver, Colorado. Seventh child of 10. My art practice started when I was probably about 4 or 5, when I was basically sitting on the couch watching my older brother draw and paint, absorbing what he was doing. Then he gave me a pan of watercolors, and my sister brought reams of typing paper home from work. So that's where I got my first chops. And then later on, I started going to the Denver Public Library and looking for artists and so forth. I saw the only black artists there were Charles White and Jacob Lawrence. I really had an affinity for what Charles White was doing when I was a kid, and my oldest brother who could draw also, who got me really to have an affinity for drawing. And then I started trying to draw. And so one day I got a phone call that there had been a shooting in City Park, and they had shot my brother. And I left here and went up to Denver, and I'm the one that had to go to the hospital and identify his body. But the story was that he was in City Park brandishing a pistol, and someone called the police, and when the police arrived, they shot him like 8 times in his torso. So that's the story that we were told. Then when I went to go identify the body, the detective asked me, did I have any questions? And I just asked him the same questions as, was he brandishing a gun, and where's the gun? He said he couldn't answer that question. And the doctors also conveyed that had he lived, he would have been really disabled because of the wounds that he had. So it was almost like a blessing in disguise that he did die, but it was traumatic for my whole family. We sat out on our porch the night of the shooting, and Denver police helicopters were flying over our house all night, basically, and just driving my mother insane, and we had to call one of the, Wilma Webb, actually, who was on the council, to get the police to stop flying the helicopters over the house, because they thought that we were going to riot or we were going to do something very violent because of the police shooting of a black individual in Denver. I think the same themes run through my work from the beginning until now. All the social injustice, being a black person, being a black artist, you encounter all the injustices of society constantly living in the United States, economically, educationally, in all kinds of ways. So I think the themes are there and have been there. I think I just have expounded on current ones that permeate in your person where you have to do something about it, When I was doing the Haitian dream boats, I had so many boats, they were all in there while I was working on them in here, they had to be put aside and so forth. Yeah, that started after they were having the wet foot, dry foot policy, where if you could make it to the United States and get your foot on land, you could be here, but they never let the Haitians make it to land. So that's why I call them dream boats, because they never actually made it here, They turned all the Haitians away, but anybody else who made it here had, they could go through the immigration process. The Delta Queen installation is basically a conglomerate of imagery from us going to Mississippi. Me and my friend David Stevens going to Mississippi in 1976 to do some photography, basically to get myself some subject matter. Because I really hated that, I didn't want to take images from magazines and books and stuff like that. I wanted my own imagery. And I knew that things were a little different down south than they were in Denver, Colorado, but I really didn't have a clue. So we decided we would go and stay with my mother's friend. And from there, that would be our, we would take off from there and go out throughout the Delta and do some photography and capture some of these individuals that we have seen in magazines and stuff, like thinking like, there's some imagery there, there's some people there, there's something to be had in Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. So after that, we went back in the 90s, 95 and 96, back to Mississippi and got photos then too. And so those photos and the ones from 76, which I call the Delta Queen because Rebecca was from 76. She's the one I call the Delta Queen, but it's a conglomerate of that imagery of the Mississippi Delta that goes into that particular piece with light boxes and found objects and so forth, the mixed media. So that's the Delta Queen. It's a conglomerate of our Mississippi photography and adventures. I don't want to get bored. So I move on while I'm still fresh. If I get bored, then I've been there too long, But I know I'm capable, and that's one thing I got from my brother. My oldest brother, he did architectural renderings. He was a sculptor, basically really large-scale sculpture, painter, could draw. He could do all these things, and so it was in my mind that you are capable of doing more than one thing, Yeah, I can draw. Yeah, I can paint. Yeah, I can sculpt. Yeah, I can do mixed media. I can do some sculpture. I can do all these things. And so with me, the way I do my work is when I get a concept, then I try to figure out what's the best medium that concept is going to work in. If it's going to work better as mixed media, I do a mixed media piece. If it's going to work better as a sculpture, I do a sculpture. If it's going to work better as a painting, it's a painting. If it's going to be abstract or if it's going to be objective or realistic, it varies. It depends on the concept.